You will never see it coming. You think I'm joking?
Schemers trying to control their little worlds. You know what I noticed? Nobody panics when things go according to plan. Even if the plan is horrifying. If tomorrow I tell the press that like a gangbanger will get shot, or a truckload of soldiers will be blowing up, nobody panics. Because it's all part of the plan. But when I say that one little old mare will die, well, then everyone loses their minds. Introduce a little anarchy. Upset the established order, and everything becomes chaos.
We have before us the opportunity to forge for ourselves and for future generations a new world order, a world where the rule of law, not the law of the jungle, governs the conduct of nations. When we are successful, and we will be, we have a real chance at this new world order, an order in which a credible United Nations can use its peacekeeping role to fulfill the promise and vision of the UN's founders. When we are successful, and we will be, we have a real chance at this new world order, an order in which a credible United Nations can use its peacekeeping role to fulfill the promise and vision of the UN's founders.
Well, this is it.
It's just one more way of reducing your liberty and reminding you that they can fuck with you anytime they want. What we have now is a completely neurotic population obsessed with security and safety and crime and drugs and cleanliness and hygiene and germs.
If anything kills over 10 million people in the next few decades, it's most likely to be a highly infectious virus rather than a war. Not missiles, but microbes.
There's another thing, germs. Where did this sudden fear of germs come from in this country? Have you noticed this? The media constantly running stories about all the latest infections, salmonella, E. coli, hantavirus, bird flu. In prisons, before they give you a lethal injection, they swab your arm with alcohol. Well, they don't want you to get an infection. And you can see their point.
We've actually invested very little in a system to stop an epidemic.
Besides, what do you think you have an immune system for? It's for killing germs. But it needs practice. It needs germs to practice on.
Today, the greatest risk of global catastrophe doesn't look like this. Instead, it looks like this.
So listen. If you kill all the germs around you and live a completely sterile life, then when germs do come along, you're not going to be prepared. And never mind ordinary germs, what are you going to do when some super virus comes along that turns your vital organs into liquid shit?
It will include those states I just saw. Necessary government functions, essential stores remain open. The order bans non-essential gatherings as well as non-essential travel on foot, bicycle, scooter, automobile, or public transit. Travel to Medicare to shop for necessary supplies and help family and friends who need assistance will be allowed, but airports, public transportation, taxis continue to operate for essential travel. People are encouraged to practice social distancing, kept 6 feet apart. So this is martial law being declared. This is what they did in Boston, the first of the memes, shelter in place. They went around with military.
Let's look at the progression of Ebola over this year. About 10,000 people died, and nearly all were in the 3 West African countries. There's 3 reasons why it didn't spread more. The first is there was a lot of heroic work by the health workers. The second is the nature of the virus. Ebola does not spread through the air. And by the time you're contagious, most people are so sick that they're bedridden. Third, it didn't get into many urban areas, and that was just luck. If it had gotten into a lot more urban areas, the case numbers would have been much larger. So next time we might not be so lucky. You can have a virus where people feel well enough while they're infectious that they get on a plane or they go to a market. The source of the virus could be a natural epidemic like Ebola, or it could be bioterrorism. And so there are things that would literally make things 1,000 times worse. In fact,
When we are successful, and we will be,
in fact, let's look at a model of a virus spread through the air like the Spanish flu back in 1918. So here's what would happen. It would spread throughout the world very, very quickly. And you can see there's over 30 million people die from that epidemic. Now, I don't have an exact budget for what this would cost, but I'm quite sure it's very modest compared to the potential harm. The World Bank estimates that if we have a worldwide flu epidemic, global wealth will go down by over $3 trillion. And we'd have millions and millions of deaths. These investments offer significant benefits beyond just being ready for the epidemic. The primary health care, the R&D, those things would reduce global health equity and make the world more just as well as more safe.
To slow corona spread. San Francisco, Santa Clara, San Mateo, Marin, Contra Costa, and Alameda, the whole Bay Area, and I'm sure it's going to come up to the North Bay as well within a day or so. 6.7 million people are being told to shelter in place. The order will go in effect tonight at midnight.
So I think this should absolutely be a priority. There's no need to panic. We don't have to hoard cans of spaghetti or go down into the basement. But we need to get going because time is not on our side. In fact, if there's one positive thing that can come out of the Ebola epidemic, it's that it can serve as an early warning, a wake-up call to get ready.
And we can fully expect to have MRAPs floating around, National Guard, and their militarized trucks, making sure everybody stays indoors. Nobody goes in, nobody goes out, folks. Take this very, very seriously. This comes right on the top of this morning. The U.S. top infectious disease expert is in phase of a national lockdown. So this is just the beginning, folks.
Family, as you can see, things are flying off the shelves. And if you've been paying attention to the news lately, the maps are closing in. Washington State, California, New York, and even in Florida, the major airports are closing. The major shipping areas are closing. They're closing down activities and social gatherings. Once we secure the borders, once they have secured that, then they can start moving in. Remember, the Most High And let's stay focused on Him. And let's not be shocked at anything that they're doing. We know that this has been in the works for a very long time. I know that this is a lot of information for you all to process, but we are all family. We are in this truth, and we are the children of the Most High God. I love you. Stay prayed up, and remember, we still have each other. Shalom. All praises to the Most High. This is Double Edges, and I'll see you next video. Most High willing.